Welcome back to the channel, guys. Now today we have a special for you. This versus that special again. This Fuji XA7 versus
the Canon M5.
Yeah. Now they both have a kit lens on them. This is a 15 to 45 and that has a 15 to 45 as well. So I'd like to thank Photo and Video for the loan of this camera and lens. This whole set here is borrowed from Photo and Video. This lens, the Fuji 15 to 45, is borrowed from them as well. So I'd like to thank him for that as well, so we can do this comparison. So I'll put a link in the comment section down below, and I'll put a message up on screen, their website, so you can go to their website and have a look at the range of new and second-hand camera gear that they've got in there. So yeah, with that we'll move on with the video. These two cameras with their kit lenses, they're very similar sort of size. The Fuji, this was released in 2019 and it's a 24 megapixel APS-C size sensor in it. The Canon 2016 24 megapixel APS-C size sensor. Canon has a 1.6 crop, the Fuji 1.5, as pretty much standard with most crop sensor cameras anyway. Canon, for some reason, 1.6, their sensor is slightly smaller. Now, in terms of specs, they're pretty close. You know, both 24 megapixels, both APS-C, Canon ISO range 100 to 25,600. Fuji 100 to 12,800, but does expand up to 25,600. The Canon is an M mount, Fuji is X mount, so any of the Fuji lenses will fit on this. The Canon, there's a limited range of M mount lenses. They're all a different mount than the EF or the EFS lenses. You can get an adapter to mount some of the larger lenses on this, but it defeats the purpose. It's a small camera, you don't want a big huge lens on it. The Canon has just a normal tilt up and also tilt down, which I think is a stupid idea then anyway.
Unless it's on a tripod and you put the screen down, you can't see anything. If
you're
filming yourself.
Yeah, if you want to film yourself,
yeah.
You're limited to holding it, because if you have it on a tripod, the tripod mounts right in the middle, you got to block the screen. Stupid idea.
Yeah, not the best.
No.
Not a very good design.
No. But the Fuji, being a fully articulating screen, you can turn it around and...
So if you're into selfies, go for it. You're good.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's quite good. And also, like, you can flip the screen back round so that it protects the screen on the back there. The Fuji does not have a viewfinder. It has a pop-up flash.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Yeah.
Boing.
Yeah, it's a tiny little flash, but
It is.
For an emergency, a little bit of fill flash, it'll be fine.
Yeah. So like, even though they didn't have a viewfinder, you've got the screen at the back you can flick around and use, which is a good advantage.
Yeah.
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 So that's all right. That's not so bad.
Yeah.
But
so because it doesn't have a viewfinder, the screen is much higher res than the Canon. The Canon does have a viewfinder, which is 2.36 million dots. So that's got one advantage of it. So you can put it up to your eye and steady it and look through that without any sunlight on the screen. The rear screen on it on the Canon is 1.62 million dots. The screen on the back of the Fuji is 2.76 million dots. So it's much higher res, and it's a 3.2 inch screen rather than a 3-inch screen. If I put the screens together like that, you can see the difference in the width of it. The Fuji screen is a 16:9 aspect ratio, so if you're filming, if you're videoing, not filming is an old term.
it is very true.
Yeah. If you're shooting video and it's natively in 16:9, you can see it on the whole screen. The Fuji can do 4K video, the Canon only 1080. It doesn't do 4K video. That came along a few years later, and I think the M50.
Yeah, but it's also a few years older than that too.
Yeah, there's 3 years difference between them. One thing this Canon does have is an exposure compensation dial on the top there. It's dedicated for that only, so that's quite good. There's some good things and bad things about both of them, but anyway. Focus points, the Fuji 425 focus points, the Canon 376.
Yeah.
Both of them have touchscreen, both of them have time-lapse, both of them have a UHS 1 card, both of them have only just one card slot, and both of them with the batteries. Like pros and cons to both of them. There's so many that we can't go through all of them, otherwise this video is going to end up like an hour long or something. We don't want that. The lenses, very similar sort of specs. f3.5 to 5.6 on the Fuji, f3.5 to 6.3 on the Canon. So very similar aperture range, same sort of focal length range other than the crop factor on the Canon, but that's neither here nor there. It's only a couple of millimeters anyway. One thing we both don't like about this lens,
No, we don't.
is that the lens is locked, okay? It's a retractable lens, but I've seen other retractable lenses where you just turn it and it gets to its operating focal length. This one, you've got a little switch on the front of the lens here. You got to push that down and turn it left.
Turn it left, yes.
I feel like you need to push it and then turn it that way, but it's the opposite way around. And this lens, when there's no markings on this Fuji lens, none whatsoever. It's an electronic zoom, which I thought might be okay, but I don't really like it. You've only got about this much play in the zoom ring, to move it, and then it zooms in electronically. But
it goes too far. You don't know what you're stopping at. You take a photo, don't know what you've got it at.
Yeah, you don't know.
And it's not on the screen on this side either.
Yeah, you don't know. You haven't got any markings on here because it's electronic zoom. But also on the screen here, when you zoom, there's no indication of what focal length you're at. And I find that this sticks a little bit. You can turn it, and probably not going to do it now. So we're going to show you some images now captured on both of these cameras and a couple of little video clips from them, and see what you think, and we'll come back and wrap up this video after that. You've got a drive button on the back, which doubles as a trash button when you're playing photos to delete them. But the drive button activates when you push that. You've got a menu on there with like stills, burst mode, so on and so on, and you've got movie mode in there, so you can go straight to the movie mode and like that, because it does not have a dedicated movie record button on it, whereas the Canon does, which you found out by mistake.
By mistake. Because in actual fact, with this camera, if you really look where the thumb goes, there isn't much space for the thumb, because that switch is right in underneath. So your thumb's actually there. It's so easy to push, as I found out yesterday. And I went to take a photo, like, why can't I take a photo? What have I done? Look more son. Oh, REC, recording. How do I do that? So that's actually really awkward placing that there. So people design that camera, they actually put that in the wrong place. A little place for the thumb, that's it. Other than that, this camera is nice and small and easy to like to carry around for especially women's hands, because between fingers and lens there's not a lot of space. So men's fingers are a lot closer and they're going to be knocking against the lens, which is not good. I find it a little bit small. So there's not much room, but obviously this is a good travel camera. There's a couple of little things I don't like about it, is unlocking that side there to turn the lens. Once it's open, yes, it's easy, but like, and on the back here, actually, we'll close this up. So when you turn it on, it actually comes up with this on the back here. But when you actually look at it, it's like, what does that mean? I brought it home and it's like, I'm trying to figure out, what does that mean? It doesn't really tell you. Then my husband showed me, I never knew about all that. Push it in and turn it around. And you get rid of that and you can take some photos.
But one thing with this Fuji, I'll take this off and I'll show you. This is one thing that prompted me to get this L bracket as well, is that if you put this on a normal tripod plate on here and put it onto a tripod, then you can't open that battery door, because you see that it's so close to the tripod mounting screw, where by putting this on, I can put this on a tripod. I can have it on this side of it on the tripod, but I can still open up the battery door. So the plate can go, this camera can go on the tripod plate there. I can still open the battery door if I want to, and change the battery if I need to. Now, would I buy either of these cameras? Well, I have bought the XA7. So we haven't bought the Canon, but would I buy it? Personally, I wouldn't. I find it too small, a little bit too small, and that screen I don't like.
Yeah,
I don't like that type of mechanism. We had it on the Nikon Z50 when we bought that a few years ago.
Yeah. And
I didn't like that. I didn't like the flip down screen. I'd rather have it flip up, but then you'd have
viewfinders in the way.
Yeah. But they both give good image quality. The kit lens on this, I don't particularly find that great. I've seen other reports, on YouTube, other videos saying that it's pretty good image quality, but I haven't found that to be the case with this copy. Whether it's this copy or not, I'm not sure. But I do want to try out a small prime like a 23 f2 or whatever, f27 f2.8 or something like that. Prime lens from Fuji that I think will give better image quality. So we'll see what happens and see if we can get a hold of something like that and test that out on this. But this camera and this particular lens got to go back to photo and video. So that's it for our little comparison, this versus that, with these two cameras for now.
Yeah.
There may be more with the Fuji if we can get a nice little prime and some other camera. We'll test it against some other camera maybe in future, and see what happens. So with that, we shall say goodbye and thank you all for watching. We'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.